All right, so let's call this meeting of the Unionville Historic District and Properties Commission to order, November 12th, 2020. And Matt, Ross, and Barbara Marsh, will you please vote as full members?
Absolutely.
We will start with approving the minutes of October 22nd, 2020. Can I have a motion to approve?
I shall move.
Thank you. A second?
I second.
Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
Just two little typos.
Okay.
At the bottom of the first page, under the paragraph titled Study Committee Expansion Report,
Yes.
the second line should add the word meeting after November, at their November meeting.
Yep.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
And the other, just a letter, add the S to homes under outreach to new owners of existing historic district properties on the second page. The end of the first line should be anticipated sale of a few homes with an S, plural.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right, very good. Any other corrections or additions? So can I have a vote to approve the minutes as amended, please? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, the motion carries. So we'll close our regular meeting at this time and open our public hearing for a certificate of appropriateness for 48 Cottage Street. Shannon, can you read the public notice, please?
I sure can. Yes. Town of Farmington, Unionville Historic District and Properties Commission notice is hereby given that the Unionville Historic District and Properties Commission will hold an online public hearing on Thursday, November 12th, 2020 at 7 p.m. on the following applications. Robert and Margaret Hoffman application for certificate of appropriateness to install 3x5 walkway at the bottom of front steps at 48 Cottage Street, Unionville. At this hearing, interested persons may be heard. A copy of this proposal is available by calling the planning department at 860-675-2325. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, October 27th, 2020. Unionville Historic District Commission, Lisa Johnson, Chair.
Thanks, Shannon. All right, Bob Hoffman, would you like to present your project?
Just for your information, that is Margaret Sweet Hoffman,
Okay,
hyphen Hoffman. So just to make it legal.
Sure.
Okay.
thanks, Bob.
It's a 3x5 cobblestone landing at the foot of the steps that we have in the front of our property. That's our main entrance to the house. And in the past, we've had few accidents happen there because of just a little drop off or they're stuck in the mud. So this is for safety and primarily, and not so much for being great looks, but went with the cobblestone for the reason the water would be able to seep between the two stones themselves, and also for that they're usually thicker. These are going to be 5 inches, whereas if I did it with a regular brick, it's only like 2 inches. Or some of the other stones that they have available, the earthen products that are usually made for paving walks. So I went with the cobblestone, so it would last longer. It's an area that gets a lot of moisture coming off the roof in the wintertime, icicles falling down on it and stuff like that. So we need something that's really durable. So we decided on doing cobblestones.
Very good. All right. You have more you'd like to talk about, Bob?
It's, our mailman endorsed it already.
That's great. All
That's
right.
very important.
Bruce?
Bruce, our mailman, yeah.
Yep.
He said it was a good idea. He said, I'm endorsing this thing.
That's great. Great. That's
He
quite
has
a,
to use it every day.
there you go. That's quite a seal of approval. Go commissioner by commissioner and ask questions, make comments. Barbara?
Yeah, actually, I do. I just have a couple of things. I lived in Boston for quite a while, and New York City had, when I was there, still had quite a few streets with cobblestones. And just two comments. One, I know you're doing this for safety's sake, and I
Mhm.
understand that. And cobblestones can be irregular, and especially if anyone wants to walk out in heels, that could be a problem. I don't know what you're putting between them. And the other thing is, as far as water and ice dripping down, or water coming off of icicles, they get extremely slippery in cold weather. So I don't have a problem with you doing it, and I fully understand why you want to put something down there. But just to let you know, it doesn't mean that all the safety issues are going to disappear overnight. You still have to really take care of them.
Great. Thank you, Barbara. Howard?
I have no questions, and if Bruce endorses it, I do too.
Great. Okay, Matt?
I guess the only thing I'm wondering is, Bob, you've got it marked out for 3 foot by 5 foot, and I'm wondering if you want to go just a little bit wider. I'm thinking kind of along the same lines, not necessarily safety, but just like turning radius and stuff like that. Should you have any other need to, get somebody in the house even later on. Cobblestone wise, kind of what Barbara said, I am a little concerned as well about the unevenness of the cobblestones too. I'm wondering if that's gonna kind of foil your plans in terms of the safety. But I think, depending on the installation, and sometimes you can get them where they look like cobblestones, but they're a little more evenly shaped and even edges that you might be able to get a little better traction out of it.
Thank you, Matt. Sherry?
I too, I guess, have a concern about the unevenness. Cobblestones never seem perfectly flat to me. They seem bumpy and uneven. Maybe there's a way to install them so that they are perfectly flat and even and pose no hazard. But my image of cobblestones is not that kind of thing, as Barbara mentioned and Matt mentioned.
Okay, the charge of the Historic District Commission is really appearance, but it's clear that we like to take care of our own. And we don't want to see Bob or Margaret harmed in any way by the cobblestones.
Right.
So please forgive us, Bob. I think that from my point of view, the age of your house and its appearance really gives you freedom to do a wide range of materials.
Yeah.
Your house is not distinctly Victorian or distinctly colonial revival, so you actually, I think, have a lot of latitude to look at different kinds of materials, even different kinds of colors. So I'll only say that as a way to say, from my point of view, I think that if you wanted to go with a different material, a different color, I think the commission would be glad to quickly look at that and just help you make another decision. However, if you are focused on the cobblestone, I think it's a lovely material. There's no doubt about it, and really beautiful, and it'll look lovely. So I would certainly endorse that. So, did I get everybody? Yeah, we're a small group, aren't we?
Yeah.
We really are. All right, anything, Bob, is there anything else you want to talk about, or is there anything else another commissioner would like to bring up?
I
Just-
would ask Bob if he looked at did you look at other kinds of materials and possibilities, Bob?
I just realized we just lost Bob. I'm like, why am I at 7?
Oh my
What?
gosh, we just lost
Did we
Bob.
lose him? I don't say he's not on my grid either.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bob?
And I don't know exactly when it happened.
oh, I don't either. I was too focused on the comments. I didn't even.
Well, I was as well. I mean, obviously he did his full presentation.
Maybe he didn't even hear us.
Oh. Is there something I can do, like email him separately, or I don't know, my phone down here.
Well, we can just give him a second.
Okay.
I was gonna say we can do public comment and then Anne can comment if she so chooses, because she's the only person from the public on, but
I have nothing to say.
you don't have anything to add? Okay. Yeah, I'm not, and he's not on attendee. And he got on originally.
Hopefully he didn't leave because he was upset.
Oh, I don't think he would do that.
No, I don't think so either. Huh.
Okay.
Shall we just continue, Shannon, or?
We can. And you said you don't have any comments, right?
I do not.
Okay. And there's no one else from the public on. It is a public meeting, but there are no other. We had Matt, Howard, Sherry, Lisa, Barbara.
Just that from the historical point of view, I mean, cobblestones have been used over a wide range of years. So, I mean, there isn't any problem with that.
I don't think so either.
No.
It's a lovely material, and it's
It
certainly
is, it's attractive.
provocative. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
well, and to what you folks could do, tying off of what Lisa suggested is that approve as presented if you so choose, but you can leave it open that if he wants to reconsider the material, that you're happy. Really, we're approving the concept of it, right? Is this appropriate, this
Right.
landing pad in this location? Right, it's Windsor Locks. I'm going to assume it's not him, but I'm going to,
Right.
hello?
No, okay,
Somebody wanting to fix my car insurance for me.
thanks.
But you could leave it open that if he would like to perhaps modify the material, that you'd be willing to review that via email. So we don't have to do it. We don't have to necessarily do a
No.
whole public hearing again, because really you're approving the content. Is this in general appropriate for the historic district? So
And just one thing, this is really a small area. I don't even think if you're walking down Cottage Road, you would see it, or Cottage Street. I don't even think you'd see it.
you perhaps would, I think you would, because it is at the front of the house, right off the edge of the driveway. Your eye will probably
Maybe.
catch it. Because the houses aren't set back all that far.
Right, right, yeah.
So I think that, from that standpoint, the COA is appropriate. I mean, certainly it's not one of the bigger construction projects that has had to be considered, but
And it does technically fit our guidelines, it's the front facade of the house, so yeah. And it's not surprising Bob would submit a COA application anyway. He's committed to the process. All right, so what you just said, Shannon, is there some way to put that in a motion?
oh, we can, because I would, like I'd say, you can make a motion to approve as presented, but also willing to review a modification for material
Mhm.
should the applicant choose to consider another material, and we could do that online.
Okay. So let's consider that a motion. And can I have
If someone else needs to, so we need someone to agree and say so moved, and then someone, because I can't make the motion.
yeah, can someone move the motion?
I move the motion. Is
Yeah,
that enough?
Second,
That's perfect. Yeah. And second, did someone have a second?
I second it.
Second.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any more comments or additions, corrections to the motion? No? Okay, all in favor of the approval of the application, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
I,
Aye. Any nays? Okay, the motion carries. Good. Thanks for helping us navigate that, Shannon.
No problem.
All right.
I can put the agenda back on the screen. Give me one sec here.
We close the hearing.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. So now we'll close the public hearing. And we'll open up our regular meeting.
I found Bob's phone number. I'm going to see if I can call.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
thank you. Obviously, that's in New Britain. I'm going to assume that's saying New Britain.
Okay.
Crazy.
Oh, that's so funny. Uh-oh, Matt's laughing hysterically. Oh, no, this doesn't look good. All right. Well, let's see. Is he trying to get Bob back into the meeting?
He calls and then I. Matt's got to unmute himself. He muted himself to call Bob, and now he's got to unmute himself.
He lost his internet connection. I'm trying to help him through.
oh, okay.
Oh, the poor guy. Okay.
Tell him he's approved and he can go watch the football game.
Yeah, there you go. Liberate that poor man. All right, well, let's continue on then. So Shannon, could you give us just an update on the study committee expansion report?
Of
You just
course.
did-
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So exchanged a few emails with Mary Doon. Let's see, where am I? End of October, first week in November. There was a few things, a few edits that she wanted done. And what we did is ultimately combined the new properties that are being proposed on Lovely Street and incorporated them into the Lovely Main district that was already there. So rather than having standalone properties, they've been incorporated into that district. So just had to tweak the report a little bit and tweak the description then of the Lovely Main district. But got through that and got that resubmitted to Mary. My understanding is last week, this week, there's a meeting at the state level, and our report will be on the agenda for their review and approval. I haven't gotten much feedback from her, but we'll reach out to her again in the next day or two to see if I can get some feedback. I'm also awaiting feedback on the Farmington expansion report as well, but it would seem all things are good. I will also take a look at our statutory timeframes and make sure we're moving this along. I'll start working with our clerk's office now that they're not up to their eyeballs in election items, and work on the next steps that we need to advance this through, which I believe is a public hearing with our commission. So most likely might be January at this point. I'll have to take a look at timing, but I don't know that we'll be able to squeeze it in December, but we'll take a look at timing and see what makes the most sense.
Okay, great. Well, that's good news, really. That's great. Good. All right, for our educational meeting, I will just, that we're planning for the spring, I'll just tell you that I talked to the contractor doing our air conditioning at our house, which is not yet complete, and they were utterly shocked that I would ask them to do something like that. So they're considering it, but I have confidence that they will come in and do a presentation for us. They were really delighted to be asked. So,
Right.
yeah, so I think as soon as I'll try to get them to be definitive with me next week and give me some ideas of, or I think they'll be open to whatever we decide in terms of a time frame. So,
I'm trying to think. I think we've done them in February or March, and now actually with doing it, because we'll have to do it on Zoom at this particular point. We won't have an opportunity to do those in person. So it kind of opens up the flexibility from a timing standpoint. So ideally, we'll keep it on a Thursday, just from a land use standpoint and meeting cycling. But we do have some flexibility on that. If it's a different day that happens to work better for them, then we can coordinate it and make it work.
okay, great, good, all right. And Matt, you were going to talk to Sanford and Holly, I think?
Sanford and Holly. I've
Yeah.
got a phone call scheduled with Bob for next week.
Great. That's wonderful. Good. Good. Excellent. All right. Anything else about the education meeting?
Just one question, and I can't, and part of it is I can't remember necessarily what we had landed on. Is the thought to have both individuals speak the same evening or do two separate ones?
I thought it was two separate.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, I think they need to be separate.
Separate? Okay.
To allow the topics to be fully explored. And I think people will have questions too.
Yep.
Yep.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I have a question. Would we be notifying just people in the historic district or, I mean, there are a lot of older homes in Farmington that they may not be interested in being in the district, but these topics might be really good for them.
Yeah, so the last few years we've, it's gone on Everbridge and to let everybody know, and the Farmington Historical District membership has been included. So we try to get the word out to the general public.
Good, okay.
And actually, I would say that particularly the tax credits, the state tax credits seminar we did, which was the last one. Gosh, was that not this past winter, but the winter before? We had more non-historic district property owners than historic district property owners. So I think the word is getting out there. Yeah. Okay. Under other business, I see Shannon has put, we'll be electing officers at our December meeting.
Correct.
I thought we elected officers in January, Shannon, or I missed.
Well, I think sometimes we have because we haven't had quorum or we were waiting for someone to be appointed, but technically by the bylaws, it ideally is in December. But if the meeting isn't held, the way it's worded, if the meeting isn't held, then those that have been appointed just continue on until we can take care of that. So, but for the bylaws, it's technically December.
Okay, that's great. Is everybody good with meeting in December? It's early enough, so
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
we're not going in. Are we?
So it's the 3rd, is it December 3rd?
Yeah.
Correct. Right now it's December 3rd. Yeah.
All right, good. All right, December 3rd it is. All right, is there anything else that anybody else would like to chat about, or any issues you see in town you'd like to talk about?
No.
No. I'll just let you know, just for your interest, because you guys are always interested in history. So I had the opportunity day before yesterday to sit in on a working session with the town historian from West Hartford and a colleague of hers who are doing and have been doing extensive research on slavery in West Hartford. And they've done and continue to do two things with this research. They're working with the local public schools in getting high school students and middle school students involved in research of this topic. But the interesting thing that I wanted to bring to you was they've entered into an arrangement with the Memory Stone Project, which comes out of Guilford, Connecticut. It was created by a high school history teacher. And the Memory Stones Project, when research is done about someone who's enslaved in a town, there's a bronze plaque that's created with the name, when they can, sort of the birth and death dates. Sometimes that's very difficult to even come up with that. And a sentence about that person. And then that plaque, it's very modest, is installed approximately where that enslaved person lived or worked. In some cases, they're put in cemeteries where they know this person was buried. So I wanted to bring this to you because I'm not advocating for it necessarily, but I think it's a really interesting physical marker of buildings and places. You know, we on the Historic District deal with buildings that are still here, and we work to preserve them. This project seeks to put back the memory of people who didn't really own buildings, you know, didn't really own land, but who certainly occupied them and were part of the life of a town in a particular place. So I just wondered what you all thought about that. I mean, let's say, for example, we found out through research that one of your houses was owned by someone who owned a slave, and we were able to find out who that slave was. Would you embrace the idea of having a marker on the sidewalk in front of your house, or be nervous about that? And that's understandable too. I just thought it'd be a nice discussion for us for a couple of minutes.
I have been wondering about that because I know there is a website that some college students worked on that has a list of slaves and who the owners were. And of course, a lot of those names are still in town. And those properties, many of them, if not an old home being there, the address is there.
Yeah.
And I'm really shocked that so far, no one at IAR working on a Padea project has come across it. None, the kids haven't, but it will happen. It will come up. There is a lot of interest now. I do not own a historical property. I don't think there were any slaves in the Farmington Woods area, but personally, I would be interested. I don't know how I would feel if I owned a home and you put a plaque in front of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Anybody
Well,
else?
I would be interested. I doubt that it would affect my house, my property, which my house was built in 1884 by Frank Sanford, the year that they opened their company, their business. I don't know, maybe the Sanfords had a slave. I doubt it at that time, but I think it's a great idea overall.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I like the idea. I don't know how I would feel having it in front of me, in front of my house. I have a house that was built in 1999, so
Could be Mexican labor, you know?
I
But-
No, the Carriers built our house, and I don't think
Okay.
they have any Mexican labor.
I think it would be interesting though.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling to find the right word that I would want the person honored, but
Yes.
I didn't want people to
agree.
think that in some way I still supported that viewpoint.
Yes.
That you know, so that's where I would struggle. That certainly the person has a right to that identity that clearly gets stripped from them with slavery. So they certainly have the right for the identity, but would be concerned that other folks walking by, like without common knowledge of it, like of why the project's in place, that
Yeah.
perhaps some way that, you know, that it's a support of that position, which couldn't be further from
Yeah.
where I feel regarding that matter, you know.
Definitely.
So I think, Lisa, curious, the individuals that are involved in the project, are they I'm not familiar with them, so are they from a diverse background, or?
That's a good question. No, the teacher that established it is white. He and the work at being, and I think Guilford and West Hartford, they're the only two communities. You can look up the website. It's the Memory Stones Project. Send you the link, but if you Google it, you'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll send you. It's a little bit more of a convoluted link to the West Hartford version of the program, because theirs is much more. It's richer. It's more richly explained on their website. But at any rate, the Guilford project is being. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Witness Stones Project. Thank you, Matt. There you go.
Yeah.
Witness
That's what else
stones.
in my head. Thank you. Where was I heading? Oh, so the Guilford project actually started and is continuing with high school students. They're doing the research.
Sure.
So in some ways, it seems to me that a community might be more accepting of it because it is a student project and it's being driven by young people who have we all expect and admire new viewpoints that younger people have.
Sure.
It's just interesting. It's worth looking at the website just to see how they approach it. But as I say, I think there are only 2 communities in Connecticut who have signed on. And by signed on, it's not a hugely institutional project. It's really the concept. And the Guilford folks will go to your town and talk to whatever commission or town council to help you advocate for it. So they're more about advocating for the project than they are about kind of helping you institute it.
Sure.
But it was fascinating. It's another physical, it's a physical, it would be a physical historical resource.
Absolutely.
Much like a building. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So anyway, there's always good stuff going on. People are very creative and clever and purpose driven, and I think this is a good example of that.
I would be willing to talk to Jean Malloy at IAR. She's head of the social studies department, and see if maybe there's interest. I mean, she may know about it, and maybe the schools are interested in joining.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be somebody. I mean, we have our ethnic and diversity group. I think they're actually meeting this evening. So
They're
They'd
meeting
be
tonight.
interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
meeting tonight
Yeah.
too. So
Well,
yeah, I with something like this, I know that I like to know that someone, at least people from diverse backgrounds, are involved, as opposed to a monoculture. You know, because I think at times, with good intentions, we're thinking in one direction, and it doesn't necessarily resonate the same with folks of different backgrounds. So
yeah, that's a good point, Shannon. Yeah.
so it very interesting. I'd have to, and this is just the first I'm hearing of it, so I'd have to take a look. But yeah, that's very interesting. Huh?
Just some food for thought. Just interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, good. All right, anything else anybody would like to chat about, or anything we want to ask Shannon about, anything that's going awry in town that she's always so good about telling us behind the scenes? No? Okay.
I think
You're
we're-
asking her to speak out of school, you know?
No, no,
No, she's very good about informing us and
no. Planning and zoning is busy though. We've got a couple of large projects coming up. So the Midpoint Development Project there's a hearing scheduled for December, but that's the McCallum building that Jeff Scott owns, where the Midas shop is and the hot dog stand is. So that his building and the land to the east is in for a zone change, master plan, and special permit. So that's actually what's got us hopping at the moment to make
Are
sure.
they
everything-
planning on renovating the building?
It is yes, yeah, they are. He is going to
Okay.
repurpose that building and renovate it. One of the uses included is a brewery and brew pub.
Cool.
So that's
Cool.
kind of
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of uses. I'll be honest, I haven't had an opportunity to dive in. It's been in the office about a week and I haven't had an opportunity to dive in, but they're looking at a couple of uses of the building, and he's kept that building in immaculate. I've walked through it, and for an industrial building where it's located and how it's been used, it is actually in immaculate condition.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Wow. Wow.
And this was 2 years ago when I was through it, but I have no reason to believe it wouldn't be the same today. It was absolutely immaculate.
My concern was more about the fact that that's where we're storing all the school stuff.
They're storing all the stuff.
Yeah, everything we had to clear out of the buildings for COVID to
Right.
make room in the classrooms. That's where it all is. It's
Oh,
all
you're
over there.
kidding. I
No,
had no idea.
he rented the school's storage space in the building, and that's where all of our extra desks and everything are all over there.
Wow.
You know, I hadn't even
Yeah.
thought about where did all that stuff. I didn't even give it any thought, and I haven't been
Yeah.
in the building, so I.
No, that's why I asked when you said that something was going on. Like, oh, geez.
You're probably fine because I think because there's multiple floors, right? He's
Right.
got the
I think we've got 2 floors worth of storage.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
actually designated as storage for the use.
Yeah.
So but self-storage. So you folks are
Right.
probably fine. You're good. You're probably fine.
Oh, that,
We don't
What's the
know when
name
we're
of that
going to be able to
building?
move we don't know when we're going to be able to move all that stuff back in.
Yeah. Well, trust us. I think the entire town will cheer when you can. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
we refer to it as the McCallum building. I think because the individual that owned it previously, their last name was McCallum, but I
Okay.
don't. There's a whole history to it that I don't have at my fingertips.
Is that building under any protection from either the Farmington or the Unionville?
so,
No, it's not in either of the historic districts, and they're not demolishing it. They're repurposing it and doing renovations, and there's going to be some architectural improvements to the facade to update it to a certain extent, just make it a little more inviting for the particularly for the first floor. But there's actually, I think we've got a link, all the documents. Hang on, we're sharing screen. Look what I can do. Let's see if I can do this here. It should be. We were having trouble with our web links, but I think Sandy got it all straightened out. Okay, so pending, it's supposed to be right here. So under Town Plan and Zoning Commission, it should be here for pending public hearing applications. So, or a chat with Sandy. I know we've been having trouble getting that loaded in, but it will be on the website, and because the files are huge, because it's like 20 or 30 acres of land total.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, because there's multiple parts, so it's not just his parcel, it's his parcel plus the 2 adjacent parcels. It goes all over to where the gallery hair salon is.
Okay.
Well, that's
So,
great.
I think it's nice that something's happening there, but, you know, I'm a little bit worried about losing the history part of it.
but you're not losing it, it's not being taken down. It's gonna
Well-
be, you're actually, you're preserving the history by allowing it that, by giving it a purpose so that it can stay and continue to be part of the community.
Well, yeah, if the outside is protected enough.
Yeah, I think it's the intent is to enhance what's there, not, and it does need a little bit of a facelift. It's not gonna be changed to look like the mall. But those documents will be posted, and so you folks will be able to take a look.
Great.
Are they still planning to do those condos behind Unionville School?
There is still an approved project. We haven't heard from the developer in quite some time. So I don't know what the status is with respect to that.
Are you talking about Charles House area?
The Charles House, yeah, so it's next to Union School.
In the brownfield?
Yep, the entire property adjacent to Union School. So it's still an approved project, but we haven't heard anyone making any inquiries or from that developer, and like I said, in quite some time.
Good.
Good. All right.
Okay,
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Shannon.
of course. Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting to hear about what's going on. All right. If there's nothing else to come before the commission, I can entertain a motion to, I just lost the word.
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Kaput.
Second.
Right. Thank you, Sherry. A second?
I second.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
thanks. I'm going to assume no and no nays. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. However you're going to
Yes,
stay
everyone.
patient, stay strong, and stay hardy. Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely,
We
yeah.
will try.
Yeah. And we'll see each other in December.
Okay, all
right.
right.
Good night.
Good
Take
night.
care.
everyone.
Bye.
Good night.